Let's be real, we all face conflict. But what if, instead of being this big problem we have to avoid, it was actually a skill you could master? What if a disagreement didn't have to be a total disaster? Well, it doesn't, not as long as you know how to navigate it. So, let's dive in.
All right, let's start by putting this into real-world terms. Just think about the last disagreement you saw at work. It was probably a little tense, right? Maybe a bit awkward. But did you ever stop and think, what's the actual price tag on that argument? How much does all that friction really, truly cost a business?
Get ready for this. The answer is a staggering $42,000. And that's the estimated annual cost of lost productivity for just a small team, all from wasting a few hours a week on unresolved drama. Suddenly, learning to disagree smarter isn't just some soft skill, it's a massive financial advantage.
So, here's our game plan. We've just seen the hidden cost. Next, we're going to figure out your own default conflict style. Then, we'll introduce a cool tool called the Resolution Navigator to help you pick the right strategy. We'll see how it all plays out in the real world, and then we'll build an action plan you can use like today. By the end of this, you're going to have a complete toolkit. Okay, first things first, we have to do a quick self-audit. I mean, you can't navigate a map without knowing where you're starting from, right? In conflict, that means understanding your go-to style. So let's break down the main ways people tend to handle disagreements.
First up, we have competition. Think of this as the I win, you lose mode. It's assertive, it's pretty uncooperative, and it's all about making sure your interests are protected. The goal here? It isn't to find some happy common ground, it's to win, period.
Now, on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, you've got accommodation. This is where you're basically saying, you know what, the relationship is more important than this issue. It's not assertive at all, but it is super cooperative. You're willing to set aside your own concerns to satisfy the other person and just keep the peace.
Then there's avoidance. And yeah, it's exactly what it sounds like. It's when you're just not dealing with it at all. You sidestep the issue, you put it off for later, or you just withdraw from the situation entirely. You're not addressing anyone's needs, you're basically just closing your eyes and hoping the problem magically disappears.
Next up is compromise. This is that classic let's meet in the middle approach. It's all about finding a quick, acceptable solution where both sides have to give a little something up. So it's not a perfect win for anybody, but it's a really effective way to get unstuck and move forward.
And finally, we have the gold standard, collaboration. This is the one we all strive for, right? The true win-win. It's both assertive and cooperative. Instead of just splitting the difference like in a compromise, you dig way deeper to find a creative solution that actually satisfies everyone involved. Now, it takes more time and trust, for sure, but the payoff can be absolutely huge. So just take a second here. When things get tense, what's your gut reaction? Are you the person who jumps in to take charge like a competitor, or do you kind of shrink back and hope it all just blows over, like an avoider? Come on, be honest with yourself. There's no wrong answer here, but knowing your starting point is the absolute crucial first step. Okay, so you know the styles, but here's where the real magic happens, learning when to use each one. Because here's the secret. Not every situation calls for a big, complicated win-win collaboration. To figure out the right move, we're going to use a simple tool I like to call the Resolution Navigator.
Just look at how simple this makes the decision. It all boils down to two key questions. First, how high are the stakes? And second, how important is this long-term relationship? So, if both are high stakes, important relationship, boom, you aim for collaboration. But what if the stakes are low, but the relationship is vital? That's a perfect spot for accommodation. Now flip it. If the stakes are high, but you honestly don't care about the relationship down the road, competition makes sense. And if both are low, yeah, maybe just avoiding it is your best bet. See? This little grid is your secret weapon.
Okay, enough theory. The best way to really get these strategies is to see them in action, especially when the pressure is really on. So let's look at a couple of real-world cases where major companies had to navigate some absolutely huge conflicts. Let's travel back to 1982. Johnson & Johnson is facing an unthinkable crisis. People are dying from cyanide-laced Tylenol bottles. The company is completely trapped between protecting its bottom line and protecting public safety. I mean, what would you even do?
They had a choice. They could have gone the easy route, avoidance, deny it, deflect the blame, do anything to protect the stock price, but they didn't. They looked at that navigator. The stakes? Incredibly high. Their relationship with the public? Everything. That's the top left box. They chose collaboration.
They worked with the media and the FDA. They put public safety above all else. They recalled 31 million bottles, a $100 million loss that bought them decades of public trust.
For a more recent example, you probably remember Netflix's whole Quickster disaster, right? When they tried to split their services, customers were furious. CEO Reed Hastings could have been competitive and told everyone to just get used to it, but he looked at the Navigator. The long-term customer relationship was vital, but the stakes of that one specific plan, relatively low. So he used strategic accommodation and issued a big public apology. He saved the relationship. So we've seen the theory, we've seen the high-stakes examples. Now let's bring it all home. Let's make this about you, because the goal isn't just to learn this stuff, it's to actually apply it. Let's build your personal action plan for your next disagreement.
Okay, here's a classic workplace scenario. Marketing wants a $50,000 budget. Finance can only approve $30,000. A competitive approach here just leads to a stalemate, but a compromise? It looks like this. Marketing has to give something. They agree to focus on fewer social media platforms, and in return, finance helps them get an extra $5,000 from another budget. The key takeaway? Nobody gets 100% of what they wanted, but the project actually moves forward. That's progress.
But what if you need more than just a quick compromise? For the really big, important issues, you need the collaborative framework. Look at this flow. And I gotta tell you, the absolute most important step here is the second one, surfacing the interests behind what people are asking for. You stop arguing about what people want, and you start asking why they want it. That single question, that's the key that unlocks a true win-win. And that brings us to our final, and honestly, our most important question. Think of it as your exit ticket for today. You've learned the styles, you've seen the Navigator, you have the frameworks. So now, what is the one small, specific action you will commit to trying in your very next disagreement? Don't just think about it. Right now, make that silent commitment to yourself. Fill in that blank. Maybe it's, I will listen for a full minute before I speak, or I will ask why this is important to the other person. Just pick one thing, because turning all this knowledge into a real skill, it starts with that single choice. And that is how you stop just having arguments and you start navigating them.